You've experienced this before. You sit down with a book. You read one page, then another. Your eyes are moving. Your mind seems awake. But when you stop, there is nothing. No idea, no concept. Just a faint memory that you read something. And you wonder, why does this happen to me? Why do other people read faster, learn faster, remember longer? Is there something wrong with my brain? But the truth is simple. There is nothing wrong with you. You've simply been using the wrong level of reading for the goal you want. Most people only know one way to read. They think reading is just look at words, understand words, move on. But reading is not one skill. It is 4 levels of comprehension. And if you use the wrong level for the task, your brain cannot remember what you read, no matter how hard you try. So before you try to read faster, you must understand one thing. Real speed does not come from reading faster. Real speed comes from not needing to read again. The fastest reader is not the person who finishes the book first. The fastest reader is the person who can explain the book after reading it once. So let's break this down. There are 4 levels of reading. Level 1, literal. Level 2, implied. Level 3, critical. Level 4, adaptive. And everything changes when you stop reading at level 1 and level 2, and start reading at level 3 and level 4. But first, we need to understand the foundation. Level 1, literal comprehension. This is surface reading. You read the words, you understand the words. No interpretation, no thinking, just input. This level is useful when the goal is simple execution, reading a recipe, assembling furniture, checking bus schedules, following directions. At level 1, speed reading tricks work. You reduce subvocalization. You move your eyes faster. You group 3 to 4 words at a time. And yes, you can hit 500, 800, even 1,000 words per minute. But here's the problem. Literal reading does not create memory. It does not create understanding. It does not create usable knowledge. It is fast, but it is shallow. And shallow understanding evaporates. So level 1 is only useful when you don't need to remember anything. But there is one technique from level 1 that does matter, and this technique will improve speed at every level. It's called smart skimming. Smart skimming is not about skipping, it is about mapping. Before reading the content deeply, you scan to understand its structure. Think of it like walking into a city for the first time. Do you wander randomly? No. You look for landmarks, main roads, patterns. Reading works the same way. Before reading a chapter, you ask, what is the architecture of this information? Look for titles, subheadings, bolded terms, repeated phrases, summary sentences, diagrams. You are telling your brain, this is what matters. Everything else supports this. For example, open Atomic Habits to the habit loop. Cue, craving, response, reward. Just by knowing that framework, every sentence that follows becomes anchored. Your brain doesn't drown. Your brain navigates. Smart skimming alone increases reading speed because the mind stops guessing what is important. It knows what is important. But smart skimming only builds the skeleton. Now you need to add the muscle. Level 2, implied comprehension. At this level, you start picking up meaning beyond the words. You understand what is written, and you also sense what is suggested. This is the level where you read and think, I get what the author is trying to say. And in the moment, it feels great. You feel smart. You feel connected. You feel like you're learning. But there is a hidden problem here. At level 2, you remember the feeling of understanding, not the actual ideas. This is why you can finish an entire book and say, it was good. But when someone asks, what did you learn? You freeze. You remember the emotion, not the knowledge. And that is because level 2 comprehension is temporary. It fades unless reinforced. To strengthen level 2, there is only one method: immersion. Read more. Read consistently. Expose your mind to more sentences, patterns, logic, structure. Language fluency does not grow from thinking harder. It grows from repeated contact with the right level of difficulty. But listen closely. If you stay at level 1 and level 2, you will never read faster in a meaningful way. You will only turn pages faster. If you want to read fast and remember, if you want to read fast and explain, if you want to read fast and apply, then level 3 changes everything. Level 3, critical comprehension. This is where everything changes. This is the level where speed flips. Up until now, the bottleneck was your eyes, how fast you move them, how many words you can group, how quickly you jump line to line. But starting at level 3, the bottleneck becomes your mind. Your ability to process, evaluate, connect, and internalize information. At this level, you are no longer just receiving information. You are interrogating it. You are asking, what is the purpose of this idea? Why did the author think this was important? What problem does this solve in real life? This is reading transformed into thinking. The fastest technique to activate level 3 is question and critique. It is simple. After each section, paragraph, or idea, pause and ask one question. What is the point of this? Try this with Atomic Habits. The book says, habits are the compound interest of self-improvement. Literal reading says, habits slowly add up. Implied reading says, small habits matter over time. Critical reading says, if small actions compound, then consistent tiny improvements outperform intense effort. So the real competitive advantage in life is mastering systems, not motivation. That third interpretation is where memory begins, where ownership of the idea begins, where speed begins. Because once you think about the idea, you do not need to read it again. It sticks. It becomes yours. Level 4, adaptive comprehension. This is the highest level. This is where knowledge turns into usable power. You don't just understand the idea, you apply it, you shape it, you integrate it. The formula is abstract, apply, attack. Abstract means extracting the core idea. From Atomic Habits, small repeated actions create large outcomes. Apply means using the principle in your real life. Example, if I want to learn English, I will practice 10 minutes a day, every day, instead of 2 hours once a week. Now the idea is practical. It begins to shape behavior. Attack means challenging the idea to make it stronger. Ask, when does this break? What conditions must exist for this to work? What blocks this in my life? Maybe the answer is, this works only if I remove distractions. So you add, phone away, desk clear, specific time. Now the idea is not just something you understand, it becomes something you live. This is reading as transformation. And here is the paradox. At level 4, you may read fewer pages, but you gain more power than someone who reads a book a week and remembers nothing. Because reading is not about finishing. Reading is about changing the way you think. If you read to finish, you forget. If you read to understand, you grow. If you read to adapt, you transform. The fastest reader is not the one who flips pages quickly. It is the one who reads once and never needs to come back. Real speed is not in the eyes. Real speed is in the mind. So next time you open a book, do not ask, how fast can I finish this? Ask, what level am I reading at? Choose the right level, and you will read faster than everyone else. Not by rushing, but by understanding deeply in less time and remembering for a lifetime.